Good morning. I'm a little early. But I figured since I was already here doing nothing, why not start, if you will. Good morning. Welcome. Ain't that the truth? Thank you for the subscription. And good morning. So just a reminder that you guys can subscribe through your Prime membership if you have a Amazon Prime account. You will have to resub every month, but it lets you subscribe for free. And then you don't have to watch ads. Can y'all hear me okay? I didn't double check. Is there like an echo or are we good? Perfect. Also on my cycle, so you're not alone, babe. Also really drained this week. Also not alone, my love. Today was the first day that I actually was capable of getting up on time. Every other day this week, it was like pulling teeth trying to get my ass out of bed. Good morning, everyone. You slept in today? I'm jealous. Yeah, it seems to be a common theme lately. I'm gonna make a really obnoxious noise. I'm so sorry. I apologized and I warned you. First time in forever, that's fair. I can never really get myself to sleep in. Last weekend, I slept in until 11 a.m. Twice. And I was like, good gracious ass rotations. Sorry. Someone tried waking me up at 7 a.m. to work out, and I said no, lol, valid. I would not want to get up that early to work out either. I have the utmost respect to people that can go to the gym at redonk o'clock, but it will never be me. I shouldn't say never, because, like, never say never, but, like, it's a very unlikely outcome. So as I said on the TikTok post reminding y'all of today's stream, I'm gonna leave what we're doing up to y'all. Though I really should make the executive decision because my energy is pretty drained. But I'm gonna let y'all decide. Are we doing a collective reading or are we finishing the major arcana? Let me know in the chat. We have 3 cards left from the major arcana. So if that's the route we were going, we would be doing Why is the only one I can think of the world? Hello. We would be doing the Sun, Judgment, and the World today. And then we would start our second collective stream next Thursday instead. But I'm going to leave it up to you guys. Just keep in the back of your mind, if we don't do the last 3 of the major arcana, we probably won't. So I was really worried y'all were going to say that. Thank you for saying if you have the energy for it. That's very sweet of you. My first time here, so I feel my votes are not valid yet. They're always valid, baby. Anything you guys do is valid to me. You are always worthy, each and every one of you. I should have known y'all would want a reading. I was like, good gracious, ass rotations. Why is that living in my head rent free right now? I don't know. I am okay either way. Cool. I want to remind y'all, if we do a collective reading, we're not going to be learning the tarot. Like, those last 3 cards will just forever be, not learned, if you will. I suppose I could do a video for Patreon when my life calms the fuck down. Please disregard if it's too much. What about learning about one of the cards and a little mini read on what's to come? I thought about that. I was like, we could just do, like, the 3 cards quickly and then see how much time we have left and, like, pull some cards after. Can you talk about the world? It's been showing up in my readings. I do feel like we need to talk about the last 3 cards, but... Yo, what? Erica, are you still here? I just read your message in the Discord server and I'm like, what? Maybe. But I started hearing his name. Like I said in the Discord server as well, I woke up to his name being screamed at me. And I had no idea who he was or anything about him. So I looked him up. Actually, I asked my friend about him first. And then she was like, oh, he's like an influencer. He's like a young guy. And then I looked him up and I was like, okay, so just like a typical hot influencer type. And then he ended up being in like a movie right after that. So I don't know if that was part of it. I don't know. Erica, I don't even know if you're here. But for those of you that aren't on my Discord server, the Discord is connected through Patreon. You get access to that if you subscribe through Patreon. Maybe one day I'll create a Discord server for Twitch as well, but for now, the only Discord server that's available is the Patreon one. But someone had sent a message in there yesterday or the day before asking about Noah Beck and a reading that I had done about where he had come up. And then I had shared that one time I woke up, this was probably like almost a year ago. I don't actually remember. Time is a construct to me, but it was in the last year and a half, okay? I woke up and I heard his name being screamed at me. And I was like, who the fuck is that? Because I'm 33 years old, okay? I don't pay attention to influencers. So I asked my friend about him and she told me he was an influencer on TikTok. So then I looked him up and then I saw that, like, I don't know, he was just a stereotypical, 20-something hot guy. So she mentioned wanting to know about that and had said it could have something to do with his sister. And that spirit might have been speaking on whatever is going down with that. So I asked Erica what she was talking about, and she said, I recommend looking it up on TikTok because it's a lot, but 2 teachers, one being Noah's sister, were caught with underage students. Wild. Well, hello, Emily. Welcome. Can you talk about the world? Let's learn the 3 cards and then in time left a brief message. See, that's the option that I like. The 3 cards that are left to answer your question, Inc. 424, is the Sun, Judgment, and the World. If you have the energy, of course. I'm E on Discord, not Erica. Oh, hello. Welcome. Good to kind of sort of put a face. I thought I saw Erica message earlier, but she must not be here anymore. I like the last 3 cards, and if there's time, a mini reading. I agree, last 3. Okay. My name is Emily. Welcome. That's my middle name, but it's I-E instead of Y. For real. I recommend reading the text between Haley and the student. It's crazy. I don't know if I want to. Is it gonna give me ick? How old is she? We still have 5 minutes, so we can just continue to chat. How old is... I'm Googling it. Thank you. It's the French spelling. I never met her because she died before I was born. But apparently my great aunt Olive told my dad, and these are the French side, that my name has too many vowels and they have to change. It just lives in my head rent free. Haley Beck. Okay. I'm reading it. She's 27? Erica, we're talking about what you mentioned in the Discord. He calls her fat and she's like, I love you. Ah! He is literally mean to her and she's obsessed with him. It's crazy. That's like mental illness. And she's a psychology teacher? That's insane. Ew. I can't read any more of this. I can't. That's where I was reading the article. Ugh. Emily mentioned it, not Erica. Oh, okay. That's why I see. Okay. Why did I think it was Erica? That's how scattered I have been. You were right. That's E. I think I just saw the letter E and associated it with the name Erica. I'm sorry, my love. And the other teacher had OnlyFans and was hooking up with students too and is like middle-aged. Oh, that's so gross. I think teachers should have to go through like a whole scope of shit before they're allowed to work with children. Because ick. Okay, so the consensus is we're gonna try to do both. Which I think is a good call, because I feel like we should know, like y'all should know how to read the last 3 cards, and we've dedicated ourselves to this thus far. Plus, like, I don't like not completing a task. I don't like not doing something that I say I'm gonna do. Yeah, the middle-aged teacher got caught first, then Haley, and Haley was still messaging the underage student on Snapchat. Like, what? Ah! That's so gnarly. Now it's going to be all over my TikTok because we've talked about it out loud. It's wild you called that out. Did I? I don't think I necessarily did. I just mentioned his name, I think. I don't really remember. But why were they screaming at me? That was like months ago. Here's the world, which I just flung. Because my hands forgot how to hand for a second. And then it's the sun and judgment, right? There's the sun. I must have passed the judgment card. Exactly. I feel like it will hurt my brain. Literally, it'll drive me insane. You mentioned the name and didn't even know who they were. I mean, like I said, I woke up one morning hearing his name being screamed at me, and I was like, I don't know who that is. You don't think that's, like, potentially who I just did that video about being, like, dragged karmically, do you? Now I'm so curious. But that's not really about him. It's just associated to him. Am I missing this card? No, I saw it the other day. It came up in a client's reading. The heck? It's hiding. Y'all, it's like literally... Anyway. I associated it with being this time period. This was happening with Noah would be the shift. Oh, that makes sense. I wonder if he has spoken. I don't know, but I imagine he'll probably stay silent. Like, I feel like that's something his PR team would tell him not to get involved in. Because, like, it really has nothing to do with him. It just happens to be his sister. You know what I mean? But yeah, like, I kept seeing on that reading I posted the other day, I kept seeing something about, like, a celebrity being dragged through the mud and someone who had, like, a cult following. Does he have, like, a cult following? I don't know anything about him except for the fact that he's, like, hot and he's in movies. And, like, he's, like, stereotypical hot. Like, I don't really think he's, like, attractive in the sense that I would be interested. It's more just, like, you know, he's good looking and I can't deny that he's superficially good looking. What is that called? There's a word I'm looking for that's escaped me. That's fair. I don't know anything about him either, so I'm just like, I don't know. Why was it way easier to find these? He's in, like, 2 movies that are on Tubi. They're the same movie franchise, though. So I did watch the first one because I was curious. It's very cheesy, very teenage kind of rom-com-y. Anyway, that's crazy. But that's about all I know about him. And now he's going to be, again, all over my For You page because we've mentioned it. Yeah, that's the word I was... Thank you, Stephanie. Conventionally good looking. Like, I can admit that the man is conventionally attractive and still be like, eh. You gotta have depth to keep my attention. That's it. I couldn't remember the name of it. I knew it had to do with, like, some quarterback stuff. He's not a bad actor. Like, he was actually better in that movie than most of the rest of them. All right, so we have decided, I'm going to update the little thingy here, that we are going to finish the last 3 cards, and then if there's time and I'm feeling it, we'll do a collective reading. If there isn't time and I'm not feeling it, we will do a collective reading. Next week will be the official start of the 2. I know, he was in that. I forgot. We're going to do a little bit of both if there's time and if I have the energy, Princess Carmen. If not, we're just going to do the learning process. So we have 3 of the major arcana left to learn, and I'm actually glad that we decided this was the route we were going because it would have driven my OCD absolutely insane if we didn't finish it. So we're going to start with the Sun card, and then it'll be the Judgment, and then it'll be the World, which are, like I said, the last 3 of the major arcana. So as we've talked about in every other learning lesson in the past, the major arcanas, first of all, they're like a depiction of the journey that we take into self-discovery and healing. So it's supposed to kind of show each step we take to get to our next phase of life. The other thing I want to remind y'all is when it comes to reading the tarot, it's about what you feel and what you see intuitively, not about what you hear or what you know. While it's important to have, like, the basic knowledge of the cards themselves, it's more important to, like, get a feel for the energy, okay? So this is the traditional image of the Sun card. It's supposed to symbolize, like, vitality and youngness, if you will, like your inner child. And then this is the Light Seers version. I'm sorry, my lights are terrible right now, but the big ones are really hurting my head. So let's do this. See if that makes any of a difference. This might not stay upright. We are experimenting right now. Is that better? I feel like that's not any better. It's a little better. Ignore the glare. So I want y'all, as per usual, give me Some similarities and differences, 5 of each. Start with the differences. What do you notice that's different in these two cards' images? It is actually better. Cool. Y'all are saying it's better. That's good to know. Give me 5 differences, y'all. A horse? Okay. There's no right or wrong answer. Remember that. Child versus adult. Okay. 3 more differences. Sun versus cartoon. I like that. 2 more. Courtyard versus open field. Yes. And 1 more. One has aura, the other looks like light. I like that. More vibrant sun, she looks happier. Okay, cool. Angelic and realism, flag, no flag. Amazing. So now I want you guys to just point out, I was going to say similarities, but I've actually changed my mind. I want y'all to give me like 5 things that you feel or you see from either one of these cards. No right or wrong answers once again. Just like what comes to your consciousness when you're looking at these cards? Liberating, okay. Give me 4 more. Warmth from the woman, I like that. It makes me want to cry for some reason. That's totally fair. Free. Let's get 1 more. Warmth. Letting the sunshine in. The song from the musical Hairspray. Oh my god, I haven't seen that in so long. That was like one of my favorite musicals. I'm not a big musical girly, but that was one of the ones that I really enjoyed. So the sun as a whole, I'm going to tell you guys the meanings of it. The sun is about happiness. It's about success. It's about pleasure. It's about self-expression and vitality. It's about childhood, like I had mentioned with like the inner child picture here. It's about positivity and warmth and success and vitality, like we talked about. When it's in the reverse position, I'm sure y'all can guess, this is about feeling a little bit down, but specifically this is your inner child. So it's oftentimes I would see that as like a client or myself in an energy where our inner child is not feeling connected, not feeling aligned, feeling a little bit depleted. This can also show that your energy levels are a little bit low. You could be a little bit overly optimistic, or you could just be feeling down in the dumps in general. 9 times out of 10 though, when I notice specifically this particular version, so like this imagery, I always am pulled to the red flag. I don't know why, but it always gives me like an omen that even though there's positive energy around, even though there's happiness and abundance manifesting, there's still a little bit of stagnancy, or there's still something that you need to pay attention to. One of the things about the sun card is no matter where it lands in a tarot reading, it actually brings positive energy towards the spread. So even if it lands at the very end of the reading and all of the quote unquote negative cards are in the beginning, this is going to bring positive energy towards that negative energy. So this could be as simple as like it's a positive shift or a positive transformation internally. The alternative name for this is the children. The numerology link is the Wheel of Fortune and the Magician. The astrology planet is obviously the sun. A lot of people also depict this as Leo energy, because I'm pretty sure the like home planet to Leo is the sun, but don't quote me. This is obviously the fire element. This symbol is the front of the head or the face. The meaning can also just be as simple as success. The tree of pathway is the 20th. The chakra that this is connected to, I feel like this is probably not a surprise to a lot of you. It's actually the solar plexus for physical health and soul wisdom. And again, this is about good health, success, a holiday, positive energy. This is also for me personally my yes card. So when I see this card come up in a spread, it's usually an omen of a yes. Or if I'm asking a yes or no question in my own reading or for a client and this card comes out, I immediately know that the answer is yes. Now, some combinations that can go with the sun. So if the sun were to appear with, say, the Chariot, this could be an omen that your positive energy and personal drive will bring a victory or success in. If it were to show up with, say, the Lovers, this would be an omen of warm, positive energy flowing in your relationships of all kinds, by the way, not just romantically, creating lasting bonds and good feelings. If this were to show up with the Tower, I'm sure y'all can kind of guess that, like, that would be an omen that no matter what life-changing event you're experiencing, it's going to have a positive outcome. So, like, for me, you're using a life-changing event to bring in new positive energy into your life, okay? If it were to show up with the Ace of Swords, this can be an omen that you have a lot of energy to put towards a new venture or idea. And then with the Six of Wands, it's about public acclaim and recognition for your efforts. So, like, if this were to show up with this, with the Six of Wands, that would be a bit of an omen to me of, like, fame or, like, going viral or getting recognized in some way, shape, or form, whether that's in the community or in a bigger way. Now, if it were to show up in the reverse position with, say, the Moon, for example, this can be confusion, distortion, feeling disoriented about your future direction, and that there's illusions that are actually blocking you from seeing what is possible. If it were to show up with the Eight of Cups, that would be growing weary, losing energy to continue working through your emotional issues. And then with the Three of Cups, this is literally an omen of a need to go play with your friends. I know that sounds kind of funny that since we're all adults, but, like, it's literally spirit saying, hey, it's time to socialize. Because when this is in the reversed, it's such an omen of your inner child feeling down that, like, spirit is like, hey, you need to boost that energy upward. Honestly, the one with the horse feels congested and the other is, yeah, I agree. I've always kind of gotten that vibe. I think I said that in one of the other, I don't know what card we were learning about, but I find that, like, I love the images on the light seers and I love the traditional tarot, do not get me wrong, but I think the traditional tarot can be a bit stuffy, whereas, like, the modernized versions tend to be a little bit more free-flowing. I also see it as you're not enjoying life. 100%. Are we comfy with the sun? Do we want to move on to Judgment? Okay. That helped a lot. Good, I'm glad. All right, so this is the traditional. Oh my god, this glare, y'all. Ah! Okay, this is the light seers. I actually love this visual. This is them together. Again, I'm sorry about the glare. I'm doing the best that I can, okay? So tell me 5 differences that you notice from these cards to the best of your abilities, of course. The sooner we get through this, the sooner y'all get that collective reading. I'm just reminding you. Open to receiving on the left, yes. 4 more. 4 more differences. No right or wrong answers. Like she's surrendering, 100%. What else? This can be what you notice on the card's imagery. It can be what you're feeling, a release, guides watching over, religious versus real life, freeing versus judgment. I like that one. Out of body experience on one, the other depicts something outside of us. I like that one too. The one on the left looks like a reflection of self. Amazing. So give me 5 things that you feel when you look at these cards. What come to you? Emotions or thoughts, anything. Again, no right or wrong answer. Traditional seems like the judgment comes from, I think I just read that, but I like that still. Acceptance, okay. 4 more, everyone. Relief, yes. 3 more. No right or wrong. I wish my camera would stay focused. Trusting your own intuition, releasing blockages. Clarity and unconditional love. Left makes me feel something in my heart. I like that. So the Judgment card, I'm pretty sure it actually connects to your heart chakra, but we'll find out in a moment. This is about awakening. It's about self-revelation and choices and an assessment. Essentially, it's a rebirth. Whenever I see this card come up, if it comes up with a death card, whew, that's a big rebirth. But whenever I see this card come up for someone, it usually is an omen to me that one, my client is going through a massive transformation within themselves, and two, that transformation is letting them feel more free and feel more open and surrendering to an aspect of the divine. And the other thing that I almost always notice when it comes to the Judgment card is that oftentimes this is actually where we're reflecting on our own past. So Judgment is about taking a look at our past actions and what led us to where we're currently standing, and then taking whatever accountability we might need to take for whatever action we took, or finding forgiveness for whoever wronged us, kind of energy. This is about judgment, like there's no other way to slice it. It's about rebirth. This can also connect to absolution and your inner calling. So, like getting more in tune with your inner self, getting more in tune with your inner world, if you will. Now, when it shows up in the reverse position, this is actually about self-doubt. This is a really big omen. If this comes up with like the Strength card in the reversed, my client is struggling to trust themselves. This is about doubting your sense of self. It's about being overly critical, but more internalized than external. And it's about ignoring the call, because if Judgment in the upright position is about listening and answering the call, obviously the reversed is going to be the opposite of that. But if you're in a position of self-doubt and you're not, trusting or believing in the pathway in front of you, then you're obviously not going to be aligned with yourself, if that makes sense. So this can also be referred to as alternative names, I should say, the angel, fame, and time. Some people do see this as like a fame and fortune kind of card. I don't really know where that narrative comes from. It's not something I've ever felt or seen in a reading, but hey, to each their own. This can be linked to the High Priestess and the Justice card. The astrological sign for this one is, or planet, sorry, I should say, is Pluto. The element is fire. The symbol is the Thoth. The meaning can be renewal as a lump sum. The tree of life pathway would be the 21st. The chakra is your alt major for past and past lives. I was incorrect. I apologize. And then the key meanings of this one are assessment and letting go of the past, if we were to put that in like a brief kind of perspective. So if this one were to appear with some combinations, I'm just going to give some examples here. If this were to show up with the Fool, that would really be a big omen to me of a time for release, rebirth, new beginnings, having evaluated your pathway. I should say reevaluated your pathway, and like giving you the energy or the push that you need to leap into the next cycle. If this were to show up with Temperance, it's a conscious decision to live a much healthier lifestyle, to eliminate bad habits. Maybe that's drinking, sex, overeating, gambling, substance abuse issues, whatever. If this were to show up with the Six of Cups, this is a huge omen that my client is stuck in the past. So this is usually Spirit saying your preoccupation with the past is preventing you from moving on with your own life. If this were to show up with the Six of Pentacles, this can be about feeling called to help others and give your time or your money in a more generous way. So maybe you're feeling pulled to volunteer or do charity work or whatever. Now, if it were to show up in the reverse position with, say, the Four of Cups, you need to pause, reflect, and understand the lesson that's in front of you from your past. If this were to show up with the Five of Cups, this could be about difficulty dealing with regrets and mistakes from your past. If this were to show up with the Nine of Swords, this usually correlates towards guilt, blame, and feelings of like sinfulness or shame. Heavy on your heart chakra. See, this is why I thought it connected to the heart chakra. I think it's because like I see this as like looking back. You know what I mean? Like taking a look at where you were to where you are. I see this as such a like reflective energy. That I think that's probably why I just associate it with the heart chakra, because oftentimes when we're reflecting, we're healing, Are we comfy moving on to the world, or do we have any questions about the Judgment card? You remember once with the Judgment reverse, I got a vibe of making the wrong evaluation of something in someone. That can be possible too. Especially in the reversal. Like, the reversal is kind of my, like, in my opinion, it's kind of my spiritual guides or my clients being like, hey, we need to kind of reassess the situation because we're seeing this in a negative perspective when we should be seeing it in a neutral or a positive. All right, we're going to move on to the world because if we have time, we are going to do a little collective reading. So this is the image of the world from the traditional tarot. I, again, apologize for the glare. This is the world from the Light Seers. Now, I want you guys to give me, once again, 5 differences. There's no right or wrong answers here. Whatever you feel called to. And remember, the sooner we get through this, the sooner we get to the collective reading. She's covered in one? Okay. I was hoping one of you was going to point out the fact that one is naked and one is not. Let's get 4 more, y'all. 4 more differences. The right looks like a reef, sorry. Cool. Circle. 2 more differences. What do you guys see that's different? Lions, yes. 1 more. Two flutes in one hand. Like she's completely covered in spirit, fully awakened. I like that. Now tell me 5 things that you feel or you see when you look at this card. No right or wrong answers here either, just what comes to your consciousness. I'm also kind of surprised that no one mentioned for the differences. In this traditional one, there's a bunch of like different energy. Like there's different people, like there's a person and like animals, but in this one she's solo. Symbols on the left. Open. Okay, what else? We just need, I think that's 3 more things. Just 3 more things that come to your mind. Ads. You can sub through your Prime membership if you're an Amazon Prime member. Once again, you will have to resub in like the next month, but it's just a way that you can kind of sub for free. And also, ads are how I pay my bills. I'm sorry. It gives me vibes of laying in the grass with the winds flowing. Okay. So 2 more. I like that because it is very much like that. Being at peace. Okay. I'm part of nature. The one on the left looks like ascending and the other feels more grounded. I like that. I don't know if you heard me mention, my love, but if you have a Prime membership, you can sub through your Prime. So, the world. All of you are right in your own way, okay? I want to remind you of that. I see the world as such a peaceful energy because it's a completion of a cycle. So like I talked about in the very beginning of this, when you are starting your journey in the major arcana, the Fool is the very beginning of that journey. It's the first step you take into your self-evaluation or your awakening. And the world being the last of the major arcana is you have completed that cycle. So this is an omen, no matter where it lands in a spread, that my client or myself is closing out something that was either out of alignment or not resonating. You know what I mean? This is an omen of fulfillment. It's an omen of completion and achievement and mastery and coming to a place where you feel whole within yourself. It's about shifting into a position of power internally where you can really see the lessons that you've learned so that you can take them and integrate them into your current reality. This, of course, can also symbolize travel. Integration is a really big one for this one because it's about integrating what you've just kind of come from to where you're going. So the world has other, like an alternative name, which would be the universe. The numerology link would be the Empress. The planet for this one, I feel like it's not a surprise. It's Saturn. The element is Earth. The symbol is the cross. The meaning as a lump sum is completion. The tree of pathway is the 22nd. The chakra is your stellar gateway, the cosmic portal. And again, this is completion, success, rewards, and joy. It's going from a period of maybe karmic debt to an open one, which is why I oftentimes see it depicted as such a peaceful kind of energy. Now, when it's in the reverse position, it kind of has like an interesting meaning, because this is saying that you're in a position where you're seeking personal closure, but you might not be going about it in the best way. So when I see this in the reverse, it's almost always an omen to me of someone trying to take the easy way out or find a shortcut in a venture. And that shortcut or easy way out that you're trying to take almost always creates delays and stagnation in your life. So if this were to come up with some card combinations, starting in the upright position, if this were to appear with, say, the Magician, for example, this would be about you can get others to buy into your vision in the way of the world. The Devil, this would be about the end of weakness, feelings of helplessness, medication, alcoholism, drugs, or substances, basically the end of a tough cycle. If this were to show up with the Sun, this is about great accomplishments, achievements, and success, often public, especially if the Six of Wands is nearby. The Eight of Pentacles, this would be a detailed task you have been working on will finally reach a point of completion. The Ten of Pentacles is about possible retirement, affluence, and material fulfillment. And then if this shows up with the Eight of Wands, this is about global or overseas travel. Oh my God. Now, if it were to show up in the reverse position with, say, the Four of Cups, this is instead of completing an important cycle, you've withdrawn and become apathetic towards the world around you. Say the Five of Cups shows up with it next to it, you are struggling to come to terms with a disappointment from the past and you need closure. I do feel called to remind y'all that sometimes closure can only be achieved within ourselves. We can't always find that externally. If this were to show up with the Ten of Swords, a painful and abrupt ending has left you reeling and uncertain about your future pathway. And then if it were to show up with the Two of Wands, with more careful planning and foresight, you will reach your goal. And that is the world. Do we have questions, concerns, things we want to know? Yes, it would have driven. What's the proper grammar for that? I would have gone bonkers if we didn't finish it. I'm gonna be so honest. Okay. That's what I thought, but for some reason that sounds wrong. Okay. The way they just showed me this in my mind's eye. I'm still tired. I'm pretty drained. But I'm not so drained that I can't do the collective reading. We're gonna find out. You're just gonna give me a couple seconds to recalibrate myself. Let this deck cleanse with my selenite. Answer a text message, and then we will pull and see what comes through. This definitely feels more personal than TikTok, and it's like a better way for you as well. Yeah, I really like it. I prefer doing the Twitch streams. I just don't have A, enough time yet, and B, I don't have a proper PC. Or I would do more of these. Honestly, I would do like an evening or even like a weekend stream for people that like can't make the early morning ones. But for the time being, this is just the best I can do. I've been debating switching the Thursday one to like afternoon. I don't know. And they always get posted on here, and then they get posted on YouTube as well, so. But all right. It does, but I've also been pushed to do this since 2022. Like, Spirit's been literally hounding me to get on Twitch for a dog's age. But I, much like everyone, I'm human, and I will resist things that I know are right for me because 1, imposter syndrome, 2, I have ADHD, and if a task is something I'm not immediately good at with my perfectionism and ADHD, if I have to learn a new task, like, ugh. So I had to be in the right headspace for it. Plus, like, I think about where I was then versus where I am now. I'm grateful I didn't do it then. I am a much more grounded, regulated, secure version of myself than 2022 version of me. So there's probably a reason that it all went the way that it did. But I've always known this was where I was going to end up. All right. And this is something, like I said, I would love to do more of. I just don't have enough time. I'm only one human being. And I don't have the proper PC setup, which is like on my things of to-dos. But a good PC is fucking expensive, y'all. I'm so bad at avoiding what they want me to. It's normal. I was like that. I'm still like that. I was like that. I'm still like that sometimes. All right, so I never get pulled to this deck. It's like a very rare occurrence when I am. I haven't really figured out what it means when I'm guided to this deck, other than like I'm hearing the word uncertainty. So that's interesting. Sagittarius, Aquarius, and Pisces could be important for someone. All right. Yeah, they are like 3,000 plus if you want a good PC. I'm probably going to buy a used one to start. Because ain't no way I'm throwing $3,000 towards a computer at this moment in my life. That's more than my rent. And my rent's fucking expensive. Interesting. Why do I keep hearing the devil you know? Ooh. 7 of Swords at the bottom of the deck. What are y'all doing? Like, what kind of partners are y'all attracting lately? I don't know why I keep hearing stop going for superficially attractive men or women. Just because they're attractive doesn't mean they're good people. In my lived experience, the hotter ones are usually shittier on the inside. And they're more self-involved. Someone needs to be reminded not to make physical appearance your entire, I don't know, personality is what I'm hearing, but that's not what I want to say. Some of you need to be more mindful about your choices when it comes to romantic partners. So some of you are rejecting people because they're quote unquote ugly, or they don't have like the right, like I just keep hearing the vanity. They don't have the right like physical features for you. And then you end up going towards the ones that like look pretty on the outside, excuse me, but are actually shit on the inside. They're emotionally unavailable, they're avoidant, they're not doing their healing. And again, in my lived experience, that's usually how it works. If someone is super hot and they put their physical appearance before their internal, it's because they're ego-based. I know that's hard to hear. Learn from my mistakes. Trust me. Anyway, we have the 7 of Wands, which is like a mummy imagery. And then we have the Page of Pentacles, but like look at this image, y'all. Like tell me that doesn't look evil. And then you have the Lovers in the reversed. I'm also like that. I feel like we're all like that at some point. I'm hearing something about a lesson in self-discovery. I have no idea what that means. Take it however it resonates. One of the things I'm noticing really strongly on this is like all of the... I just noticed that. Can you still hear me? You can hear? Okay. I think it's interesting that that started happening when we were... My computer's not even overheating or anything. Is my camera? No. Very interesting. I don't think it's necessarily a sign because I don't really believe in that kind of stuff. I know that sounds really weird. I believe that signs and synchronicities happen, but they're usually... I don't know how to explain it. Like, genuine, authentic signs and synchronicities kind of stop you in your tracks, whereas, like, something like this is just, like, something's trying to block, you know? And resistance 9 times out of 10 is coming from you. It's not coming from someone else. So, like, in my personal opinion, when there's resistance in a tarot reading, it's usually an omen that the client is resistant to change. So for a lot of you, part of this resistance could actually be coming from an aspect of needing to acknowledge that you go for what looks good versus what is good. And part of that is coming from a part of you that, one, familiarity, so like it feels safe because this is what you know. But the other side of it is you need to look within and ask yourself, why is vanity so important to me? If that makes sense. I love that movie, The Princess and the Frog. I think that's what he was. He was like a voodoo king, I think. You might be right. But yeah, it kind of does look like him, doesn't it? Can hear, but it's just a black screen. Hey, you're back. It's back. I also don't believe in that. Because if you do... Exactly. Like, I feel like if you fall into a cycle of signs, you're going to end up a little bit delulu. Not a little bit. You're going to end up pretty delulu. And that's where spiritual psychoses can seep in. Because, like, signs and synchronicities, I'm not saying they don't exist, but, like, oftentimes we end up in a cycle of chasing them because we like the rush that we feel when we receive them. But what you're not registering is anything can send you energy, light or dark, okay? So you have to get better at understanding what's coming from your actual spirit team, what's coming from your higher self and the light, and what's coming from the darkness. The darkness can also be your own ego, your own shadow, whatever. But in order for you to recognize that, you have to stop paying attention to signs. Like anytime I see someone on Spiritual Talk being like, oh, the license plate numbers, or I saw their birthday, or I saw their car make, or this is your reading if you've seen all of these things today, I'm immediately like, well, you're reading from ego, or you're coming from an ego-based place. You're not going through the spiritual evolution that you have to go through in order to get to your next cycle. Spirituality, the biggest part that I feel like a lot of people miss the mark on is that it's about being grounded. It's about being solid and secure in yourself. And the only way you can be in that position is by breaking out of cycles of psychoses or delusion or chasing. Yeah, your gut will never steer you wrong. So like when you see a sign that's actually authentically for you and it's coming from source, it's gonna be like blatant in your face. And the only way I know how to describe it is it's almost like time stops around you. It's not quite that dramatic, of course, but like that's the level of knowing you have when it's coming from your guides. I also think that God has made a mistake by creating humans because it's unnecessary. I mean, I have a hot take on like humans and the idea of how we were created. That will make most of you think I'm insane, so we're just gonna skip right over it. Life just isn't black and white 100%. That's why I'll not have kids. That's fair. Anyway, we digress. I think it's interesting that happened when this image was showing too, because like this feels very dark, and this is somebody else. Some of you are currently, and the bottom of the deck, this is actually the 7 of Swords, okay? So some of you are currently in a position where you are recognizing a past romantic partner or present, take it however it resonates for you. This person is a narcissist. they're really toxic, and I feel like they're keeping tabs on you. This person wants you to stay in the dark, is what I'm hearing. So some of you could have been in a bit of a darker cycle when you met this person or when you cross paths with one another. And it's almost like you've been sleeping. I'm kind of seeing this visual of you like resting. A lot of you kind of like hid yourself away for a little while. Something about a birthday. There could be a birthday coming up. Something about pepperoni pizza. I'm like tasting that all of a sudden. Like, honestly, there's just something really symbolic about the mummy and how, like, mummies technically, like, are sleeping. I know they're dead, but you know what I'm trying to say. I feel like there's something about how this collective in the last couple of months, if not weeks, if not currently, you have been in a bit of, like, a hibernation. And it's almost like you've been staying off of social media. You haven't been posting. You haven't been sharing your life. You've been keeping really private. And I feel like, one, that was divinely guided. So Spirit guided you to do this for a higher reason. Two, I feel like it was because this person had to get bored. I don't know how else to explain that. And this person is like searching for you. They've been trying to like find you. Like, do you notice how his hand's over top of like kind of like this kind of an energy? I feel like this person's been trying to like figure out where you've been or what you're about or what you're doing. But you're just like, nah, I'm just gonna stay in my own lane. I'm gonna keep really private, excuse me. I'm gonna stick to myself. I'm gonna put my head down and focus on what it is that I want to do within my own life. And I feel like part of this is because you have gained some level of self-love. So when the lover shows up in the reverse position, it's a really big omen to me of self-love because you're recognizing a disharmony in a relationship. You're recognizing a relationship that's out of balance, that isn't aligned with you. 9 times out of 10, the lover's reverse is misalignment of values. And you're recognizing that misalignment had to do with this energy here. They're bringing me back to this. This person could have, like, abs. I just keep seeing someone really conventionally attractive. And they want me to remind you that, like, you can literally see a person's miserable-ass spirit if you're willing to look at them. Offline since the new year is impressive. Something about mechanisms like wheels moving. Something about Gemini energy. This person could be a Gemini. I'm also seeing something about Cancer. I also just heard Scorpio and Pisces as well. Remember, zodiac signs are just additional information here. We do have heavy Aquarius, though, because this is Aquarius energy. And I saw that in the beginning. And then I'm also seeing something about Leo. Something about, like, some of you paying closer attention to, like, I don't know how else to, aura. You're paying closer attention to people's aura. You're starting to recognize when they have, like, a weird, dusty-ass energy. And then you have the Six of Wands, and this says Gollum. Gollum. Sorry. Vocal stems for life. Something about a pentacle. This is also making me think of those of you that are Supernatural fans. I just saw the episode where they like literally have to like get a golem. I'm also thinking of Onyx from Pokemon. There could be something about Onyx, which he evolves to like, oh my god, what is his evolution? Hello. I like literally worked my ass off to get an Onyx to evolve to what he is on my Pokemon Go. What the fuck? Yeah, I was going to say the Lord of the Rings, too, could align. That's going to drive me crazy. Steelix, thank you. Sorry, it was going to drive me insane. There's about to be a really big victory here, though. I really do feel like for a lot of you, this is past energy. So I'm feeling a sensation in my crown chakra, almost like a tingling and a lift, okay? I'm also feeling something from my third eye here. I think he's cute. I think Steelix is kind of cute. Um, I think Cyndaquil's evolution is really ugly, but anyway, I will talk about Pokemon for longer than we probably should. Let's stay focused. But there's something about your crown chakra and your third eye chakra. So for some of you, this person, I don't want to say they were attacking it because that feels cuckoo bananas, but this person was definitely trying to block you from like clearing your chakra. Those two specifically. Like I just keep feeling this heat sensation right here on the crown and like this tingling right here on the third eye. I'm telling y'all, a really big victory is happening. And I feel like part of why this is unfolding is because you have let go of this person. You've let go of this connection because you recognize that it doesn't align with you anymore. And because of that transformation within you, not only is the truth coming to light internally and externally, but you're about to receive some sort of karmic justice. I keep hearing the term reward on repeat. Yeah, like this person was kind of like standing in the way of your imagination. They were standing in the way of your creativity. They were standing in the way of your connection to source and spirit. For some of you, this person is really toxic in the way that they think they created you, which is like, ew. What is that song, Ash Nico? You can't stand to see me shine, but I need a visor. Better buy a visor. You won't ever cross my mind. What's a sheep to a tiger? Toxic. I think in that song she says like something about how like the person thinks they created her or whatever. I don't really remember. Sorry, I got distracted. There's an ad and it's Zendaya and I think she's so fucking beautiful. You don't ever cross my mind. What's a sheep to a tiger? No way. There's sheep on this. Now you begging for a dime. I'ma throw you a fiver. Begging for some other fun. Born you scare you like a skeleton. You can't stand to see me shine. Better buy a visor. You don't ever cross my mind. What's a sheep to a tiger? All these two sweet peaches. Interesting. You and Jeepers Creepers. Call me a fucking diva. I'm an overachiever. Heard the gossip. Heard you the word that you said you made me who I am. You think you're the man. You're so toxic. I knew she said something like that in this song. Anyway, some of you should definitely listen to this. I just put the link in the chat there, but like, yeah, this person's like going around town saying they I don't want to say they created you, but like they feel like, I don't know, they feel like they made you into who you are, but like your healing did that, babe. Like your healing did that. The internal work you invested inward did that. You haven't posted in months on Facebook because your ex accidentally added your partner. That's so weird. I feel like, yeah, we have the Wheel of Fortune right as I was about to say the wheels are changing. Something shifted. You regained your power. You regained your control. You stepped back into yourself. I feel like the silence that you've been in, the private life that you've been living, was on purpose. You had to break these chains. You had to break the chains that bound you. Now I'm hearing that Fleetwood Mac song. What is that called, y'all? This person, could have a drinking problem. They could have an addiction of some sort. Specifically, I'm seeing, like, red wine. Yeah, it is the chain. It came to me, like, right after I asked, but I got distracted. I'll put that in the chat, too. But I feel like your creativity is coming back. Your spark is coming back. Like, you're starting to feel more like yourself again. This person could have tried to invade your dream space. This could have been one of the ways that they were gaining access to your energy. I feel like you've been no contact for quite some time. I'm hearing like 1 to 2 years minimum. For some of you, it could be shorter. Take it however it resonates, of course, but interesting. They're showing me another deck in my mind's eye. Let me grab it. Held a message for reasons. Misogyny. From the sound of a woman that held... I'm so confused. Do you have any advice for dream space? I just saw a dream catcher in my mind's eye. It could be helpful for some of you. Okay. And if you're worried about close practice energy, I am indigenous. It's a very small percentage, but it still counts. And I'm giving you permission, okay? And for people that don't believe me, I can show you my DNA chart if you really want to see it. And I only say that because I am pastier than sin. But I swear, if you met my dad, you'd be like, there's no doubt about it, Avery. I think things like that, like I understand the cultural idea of keeping things closed and keeping things open. And I think I said this on a stream recently, or maybe it was a live or something, but like, I think things should be shared if they're being used respectfully. You know what I'm saying? Like if we're doing things in a respectful way and we're not being racist or disrespectful or, you know, bigoted, I just think that's something that should be given freely. It is. It's all about intent. All right, what do we have? I just love your laugh. Thank you. All right, what do we have? Way to make me laugh. Oh my god. Oh my god, Ronnie. Sorry, it immediately came to my mind. I told y'all, ADHD association is a real fucking thing. So we have sleep on it. I had to turn the light off. It was really giving me a headache. I'm sorry. But this says, think before you speak, get rest, don't sabotage, call it a day, need a break, sleep deprived, and drained. I think it's funny this comes out when we talked about in the very beginning of today's stream, we were all talking about how drained we are. A lot of us are on our cycles. We're drained. We're tired. We're going through it. My cycle is like non-existent too, which is weird. That's probably a little TMI, but this birth control and I are like weirded out by each other, I think. What else do we have for the collective today? The golden mirror. What did I say? I'm telling you, this person is like very narcissistic. They're also showing me, where did I do that reading? Was that TikTok or was it yesterday's Patreon where we talked about like a third party reaching out to the collective to apologize for projecting onto you? Because whoever you've both been entangled with has been making both of you the problem. And this other individual, I don't even want to call them a third party because they're just as much as a victim as you are. But this other individual is seeing truth. Like, this was a very one-sided connection. This was very love-bomby, very self-absorbed, very I get my way or no way at all. And again, I feel like for a lot of you, this had a lot to do with, like, superficial attraction. I just keep being brought back to that. So this person's probably rather conventionally attractive. They're showing me someone really tall. Tall, dark, and handsome. That's what I just heard. Patreon, that's what I thought. Yeah, but you're shifting into such a positive vibration, babies. Like, you don't even need to worry about this. Whatever's going on with this person, it keeps coming up in the readings lately because I feel like not all of you have received proof or confirmation. But there's positive vibes coming in. Spirit's saying happy times are ahead of you. Positive attitude is going to help you overcome, is what I just heard. If you just had a question, the answer is yes. I also see things in your life start going more smoothly, but this collective needs to take a little bit of time to rest, reconnect with yourself, level back out is what I just saw. We have gravity, which is making me think of gravity. I haven't heard that in forever, but it's John Mayer, which I know people don't really love him. You don't have to like him to like his music. I haven't heard this song in so long. This is really specific and kind of gross, but something about a dirty diaper. I don't know. Yeah, this collective is shifting into a high vibration. This is about a high frequency. This is about positivity and attracting what you want and letting go of cycles and patterns that don't align anymore. Something about 111 when I just looked over. Yeah, part of this is about releasing a cycle of codependency. I feel like you and this person in the past were stuck in a codependent cycle surrounding addictions. This person was also supremely controlling. Wants to bring me down. Don't ever know. Live the same. All the love. They also had zero respect for your boundaries. I'm also hearing and still don't. They're avoiding taking accountability because they're incapable of it. Like, they're also showing up as someone rather wicked. This is, like, very mischievous, very deceptive, very harmful. This person lies a lot. They cheat on everyone they've ever been with. Working against me. But I do feel like they're going to pop up. Gravity wants to bring me down. I think it's funny that I felt called to keep that line. This person is going to pop up pretty unexpectedly. And I feel like they're going to come in, like, trying to stay and do all the right things. But, like, nothing has changed here. This person is still very much in the same cycle that they were in when you walked away from them. And I feel like it's probably better to ignore their communication than to engage. One more. Yeah. Some of you might even bump into this person in public. Okay? Just a fair warning there. On another note, some of you are going to go thrifting over the next couple. I'm hearing on the weekend. You're going to go to a thrift store and you're going to find something that you've been looking for. Some sort of, like, really rare, really authentic, really good find for a really affordable price. And I do feel like this is something that you've been trying to find for a while. This could even be a ring because I'm playing with one of my rings. For others of you, it's a coat. I don't know. Take it however it resonates. It's just something that you've had your eye on for a while. Yeah. And then Spirit's reminding you, stop looking for love in physical attraction. Stop trying to seek partners that are good looking and start looking for their core, okay? Start paying closer attention to their core values. Choose partners whose values align with yours. Meet people that are aligned with you, is what I'm hearing. I'm also seeing some of you are trying to call in your soul tribe, and Spirit's actually encouraging you to go to where you're being pulled. So places of interest to you are going to help you attract your soul tribe and your community. Anyway, that was today's mini reading. I hope that helped whoever it was for. Thank you much for your kindness and wisdom. Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome, everybody. I'm going to hop off now. We will be back next Tuesday for another collective reading at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I can't believe that's the 21st of April. Please remember that 2 things. You can sub through your Prime membership if you would like to. And then also, I do have a sale on my website right now. If you want a personal reading, there's a video posted on my TikTok for that if you are interested. I hope y'all have a wonderful rest of your day and have a good weekend this weekend. I love you all, and I will see you whenever I see you next.